one of the things that we've been doing recently here is we've been doing player ratings for Better Call Saul. We did this, started 5 weeks ago, was that right? 4 weeks ago anyway. And we've done seasons 1 through 4, where we've gone back and we've looked at the player ratings out of 10 to see who are the best performing characters. And it was very important that we get this done by today, because tonight, the last episode of season 5 is airing on Netflix.
Yeah, it's what a week for Netflix it is actually, between The Last Dance and Better Call Saul final episode going live within 24 hours of one another. So yeah, we've been one of the things that anybody's been watching this, anybody's been following the show and following what we've been talking about over the last couple of weeks, is this slow build that I think our player ratings have represented over the last 4 or 5 weeks. That every week it seems that the scores are consistently getting higher and higher, and they're almost playing the perfect game every single season, where you're kind of trying to nitpick to find a score below an 8 or a 9 sometimes with a lot of characters. Because what we've stumbled upon, and I'm not sure was this entirely deliberate when we chose Better Call Saul to start doing player ratings on and start binge watching, what we've stumbled upon is one of the best written shows ever in television. And anybody who's not been watching it should probably get on it if they've got a bit of time to actually binge watch at the moment. Anybody who is up to speed will know what I'm talking about when the current season that we are witnessing is right up there with the greats of television, the great seasons of television. The Breaking Bad versus Better Call Saul conversation is a real debate now because of what this team of writers have managed to do in season 5. A show that is a prequel and yet has you on the edge of your seat. That's a very, very rare thing. Scenes involving characters that we know are going to survive because they are central characters in Better Call Saul. We still fear for their safety. We still feel uncomfortable in certain situations. I will say, spoiler alert here for anybody who hasn't got up to speed. Just in case, just in case I let anything slip. Okay. I'm just saying, there is a huge amount of tension that has been created in this season, and as I say, there are essential characters under threat. And for a prequel, it's pretty stunning that is something that we feel uncertain about.
Yeah. So I had watched the first season when it came out at the time, and then kind of drifted away, and have been thrilled by the fact that we've been able to binge it. I think I'm anxious about what's going to happen next year when I have to wait week by week by week, or whenever it comes out. It could be 18 months. They haven't been popping these out with any regularity. There's been kind of a long enough wait. So I would certainly recommend anybody who hasn't watched it, of all of the stuff that's out there at the minute, ignore Tiger King. You've got to get on this. Tiger King's just a waste of your time compared to this stuff. Tiger King is like, the third egg you eat on Easter Sunday, when actually you know that's just diminishing returns at this point. Actually, more making you more likely to puke than anything else. And this is the one that you're going to find it hardest to shift in your future. Whereas really, you should have just waited and spent all your time with the quality.
Well, like if we're talking about like if we're talking about Mount Rushmores this morning and some of the great TV shows of the last 10, 15 years, like this television show has to be nudging itself towards that. Is that hyperbole?
Well, I definitely would like to wait a while. The point about great art is it's supposed to sit with you for a long time afterwards, right? So I can honestly say that The Sopranos has, and The Wire have.
Yeah, so post-Sopranos, post-Wire. That the post-Sopranos and Wire era is what I'm talking about here, last 10, 15 years.
I would include The Sopranos and The Wire in the last 10, 15 years, because they're the founding texts of good quality TV. So they're the first two on Mount Rushmore, right? After that, it's the conversation. Does Mad Men make it? For a lot of people, it does. I haven't gone back and watched Mad Men again. And yet, it certainly had a massive influence in the culture. This is right there. It is absolutely right there. You just want to, give it a little bit of time to settle down.
Yeah, and maybe it doesn't. Like, I'm trying to kind of even be devil's advocate to my own opinion here. Where does this not sit well in the long-term running of it? Is it going to fall short of that level because of the fact that it is a prequel, and because of the fact that perhaps in the early seasons you don't have the explosive energy that you would have had in Breaking Bad? for me, I don't think that will be an issue whatsoever. I think people will remember the build. People will have remembered sitting with this thing and allowing the story to soak into their veins as the years roll by. For me, it's been a process of, as the weeks roll by, and it's been unbelievably fulfilling actually seeing these characters develop and grow and your opinions on them change drastically. Like, it's an achievement in writing is what this is. Game of Thrones, for example, was an achievement in television making and cinema on the small screen. This is an achievement in writing. I would say that this is now, like, as you say, we will have to wait to see how Better Call Saul concludes, and if season 6 is going to be the last season or whatever, and then we can compare it to something like Game of Thrones. But I think that the legacy of that television show. So just to reiterate, talking about the 2010s and into this decade, Game of Thrones will be sitting at the top, but it obviously harmed its legacy by the horrific conclusion to the television show.
I don't know if it is.
We have to wait.
I think that when something finishes as badly as Game of Thrones finished, it like automatically undoes most of the good work that happened before that.
Without question. Without question. I still think because of the heights it reached, it is within the conversation, but I think it slipped to behind Breaking Bad as a result to how it finished. I was personally a huge fan of how Breaking Bad finished. At least there was something a little bit unexpected, and it didn't fall flat. Breaking Bad did not fall flat at the end, and that was a great achievement of that conclusion. Game of Thrones most certainly did. It was a chronic. It was a bottle job by the writers at HBO to finish that television show the way it did. You don't get the sense that Better Call Saul will conclude in a certain way because it is really an extension of Breaking Bad. These writers have got better. They are actually the way they managed to inform us in terms of how we should be viewing Saul Goodman and how that changes over the course of 5 seasons is as impressive as the way our opinion of Walter White in Breaking Bad changed over a longer period of time. So these guys are getting better. I know that there's been some younger writers who've been promoted as time has gone by within the Breaking Bad team. These are clearly up to scratch. These clearly aren't trying to find their feet in television writing. They've clearly learned from the best in terms of the staff at Breaking Bad, and they're changing this universe into something far more rewarding than Breaking Bad was on its own. It's not really exactly a challenging list, but in terms of the best things I've done all lockdown, this is right up at the top of that list.
Okay, so do you expect somebody to die tonight? We've got a couple of minutes left here, and I'm going to read some comments. But last question on this: do you expect somebody to die? Don't tell me who, but if you do, yes or no?
Yes, obviously. It's an episode 10, and there will be unbelievable amounts of tension. Somebody will come extremely close to death, and there are certain characters that aren't in Breaking Bad, and you just have to fear for them at all times.